Welcome back to Rovers Walk. Only 4 more of these to go, then we can stop talking about Blackburn Rovers for a couple of months anyway. Welcome back. Iceman says we are 6 points off the playoff, 4 games to go. Can we? Well, stranger things have happened in football, but we'll get Mark and Jason and Harry and Tom to give their reaction, of course, to the win at Luton and just what can happen in the next 4 games. Right, first of all, it's good that he's finally got that monkey off his back and got a first win, Mark. Was it a deserved win?
Yeah, I think on the balance of play and overall, I think Rovers deserved it. I don't think it was a brilliant game, especially first off. I don't think it was a good game or a good watch. But yeah, I don't think Luton really troubled Rovers at all much. So I think it was a deserved 3 points, but a much deserved 3 points. Obviously, it doesn't matter how it comes when you've not won for 6-7 games, how many it was. It was just nice just to see that row of columns of losses ended. And so, yeah, no, I think Rovers, I don't think anybody could say we didn't warrant the 3 points.
Yeah, don't care about performances at this stage of the season, do we? Just getting over the line. Harry, not your business, says 41% possession and 2 shots on target. It was a proper Eustace-Ball in effect, and just get the 3 points. It proves that performances and possession statistics don't win games. Goals do. What have you made of the performances in general since Ishmael's took over? We know the results haven't been good enough, but are we getting to the point where the players are starting to put it in for him a bit more?
I think we're starting to see the start of something, and I think that started to come around the sort of Middlesbrough game. I know we had a terrible start to that game, but I think we actually ended that game quite strongly. At the start when he first came in, it felt like we had sort of no sense of idea what we were doing. He came in with this idea of a high press that just wasn't seen in any of the games whatsoever, and it didn't look like we had a plan. And you kind of felt that we were never going to score. You never felt any danger from the attacks that we were generating. Then there was a sort of a shift in the second half of the Middlesbrough game, I certainly thought, and then going after that, the Sheffield Wednesday and obviously the game against Luton. But not only I think it's a sort of change in sort of tactic, it also feels that there's a bit of a desire back. It kind of felt that there was a sense of hopelessness for a little while, that players we felt like we were just there for the beating and we were going to be rolled over. But I think certainly the Sheffield Wednesday game showed a real sort of fight to come back from that. We don't often, there's a big stat about Rovers about the first goal being crucial in games. If we concede that first goal, we don't tend to get much out of the game. So it showed a lot of fight to come back from that game. And then also we're going down to 10 men. I thought it was a really harsh decision to send the young lad off. To be able to dig in deep to stop this, because Luton were coming attack after attack sort of last 10 minutes or so, and be able to weather that storm. And you could see the players' reactions at full time, even though playoffs are gone, we're just playing for pride at this point. There was that desire and that fight back in the team, which is something we haven't seen for a while. So maybe something about they've decided, the manager's sort of spoken to them, and they've come to some sort of mutual agreement about how they want to play, and they feel like they can play for the manager now. I don't know if there was something going on behind the scenes a bit before, but certainly much more positive signs in the last few weeks than there were when he first came in.
Okay. Tom, some people have said, cheers for Harry, it's not easy on the eye, the style that he's trying to brand. But to be fair, Eustace-Ball wasn't easy on the eye either. What have you noticed in terms of the contrast of different styles of play, and are you starting to see that this is a more fluid way of kind of playing football to what Eustace had?
I mean, I was a big fan of John Eustace, and I was sad to see him go. You've got to move with the times, I suppose. The biggest difference, I think, at the moment, there wasn't really, like Harry just said, there wasn't really a threat in front of the goal, and I don't know what it was. The goal attack just dried up, and Harry hit the nail on the head there. Was saying that there was no real cutting edge, and the teams we were playing against had 1 or 2 shots on goal, and they would go in. So it just wasn't coming off for us. But I think now he has got more of an identity with the team, and they do know what they want to do. They've got more of a shape. They play it out wide a lot more, and they are a lot more direct, I think. Dolan's been our best player under Ishmael. I think Dolan's had a rocket up his backside, and he's really, whether he wants a new contract or he's fighting for something or a move away, I don't know. But Dolan seems to be like a real leader. And I think now he's playing Ohashi through the middle a lot more, because I think since Ohashi came back from his injury, Gay's been on the bench a bit, coming on as an impact. And when he plays them as a 2, I think they are a real handful, because they're like little and large. And we didn't really see that under Eustace, the 2 up top. So there's a slight shift in the formation, how they're playing. And I think it's just starting to come off now, whether because the pressure's now off, because the playoffs has kind of petered away. One player, though, that is really frustrating, which the boys probably agree with, is Cantwell, because I think against Sheffield Wednesday, second half, he ran the game. And then against Luton, he was subbed off because he didn't really do anything. And he's so frustrating because he's got all this ability to play. And he should be one of those leaders alongside Lewis Travis. But Dolan seems to be the one that stepped up at the moment. Whether or not Ishmael's put an arm around him and said, you've got to fight for this team. And because he can't knock his work rate. And I think the defence as well seem a bit more. It's tough because I like Danny Bart and Dom Heim, but they have had a few mistakes in them of late, and we've got very, very susceptible to any sort of attack. The players can just run through us, and we look at the 6s and 7s. But the last few games, we seem to have kind of shaped that up. Well, I say that. First half against Sheffield Wednesday, we was absolutely appalling. But the second half, we kind of sorted it out a little bit. There's still obviously a lot of work to do, I think. Whether or not we can put a run together and get there or thereabouts, but the tide, I think, is turning a little bit. As Jason, Harry, and Mark will attest to, you can't ever really fault the work rate of the team. And under John Eustace as well, they used to work. They want to work. They want to win. They're only human beings. At the end of the day, there is a mistake in them, but I think next season is a concern. But hopefully, we can just finish the season strongly. And mid-table at the start of the year, we'd all taken.
Cheers for that, both of you. Jason, Harry, and Tom have both said in their responses there that it is gone. It is just a mid-table finish we're playing for. However, I propose to you this, that we've got 4 games here which are all entirely winnable. And I know the gap is something like seven points now, but some of these teams have got to play each other. Millwall is winnable. They have a terrible record at Ewood, as the Millwall fan said earlier. Sunderland are on the beach already. They cannot get a win. Watford are terrible. And that just leaves, obviously, Sheffield United, who may already be third and have given up then as well. So, is this done and dusted, or am I just trying to paint the positives that aren't there?
I think it's done and dusted. Yeah, I think it's done and dusted.
I mean, what are we? 6 points every now?
Yeah.
4 games to go. I think 6 points is a long way with 10 games to go. So I think we're 4. And I think the teams in around the playoffs are doing all right. They're picking it. If they do lose, they seem to bounce back. We need 3 or 4 teams to go on a really bad run for us to get in there. I know us to win every game. I just can't see it. I agree. I think Millwall's winnable. Watford at home's winnable. 2 away games. I'll never back Rovers away in a million years. You just never know. But the performances, instead of performances have been better, I think they've been more stable. The last few games, we've just not had as many mistakes, and as Luton didn't offer much other than 2 good efforts from distance. One that I believe Toff saved. It happened that quick. I didn't see him getting onto it, but I believe he saved the Asgard shot. But other than his 2 shots hit the bed, he never really posed a threat, Toff. But I still think the goalkeeper situation's an issue for us, and I think if Luton go down, I said this at the weekend to the lads, I think Kaminski should be number 1 target, get him back. Yeah, I don't think we get him on the cheap, but I don't think we sold him for a lot of money, did we? I don't think we got a lot for him when he went, so I don't know what fee they'd demand for a League One goalkeeper, but they'd be my number 1 target in the summer.
Yeah,
because Toff and Ferd the flappers.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you listen to Luton fans, he's already kept them up. They'd be down already. They say without Kaminski. Right, cheers for that. Where are we? Where are we with the protests and the feeling around the club then at the moment, Mark? Because we all, I mean, obviously, watched the Middlesbrough game on TV, and Jason, thank you for Jason sent some videos out here, which are a little bit old now because I weren't able to record us, but thanks Jason for sending them through. It just showed Blackburn fans leaving after the second Borough goal went in. Has it had any impact, Mark, other than put it in the newspapers for a week?
No, probably not. And I think we said at the time a few weeks ago, it doesn't matter what we do as supporters and fans, it won't make any difference. I think a lot of fans have given up. I think I saw Jason at the game last Tuesday against Sheffield Wednesday. Never seen anyone as quiet. Half an hour before, even 10 minutes before kickoff, walking onto the ground. Never seen it as empty. And I spoke to a few other fans that were there on Tuesday and said obviously they gave the crowd at 15,000, whatever it was, 4,200 from Sheffield, but they didn't look at even that amount of Rovers fans on. So I think a lot of started voting with their feet. As I said, it won't make any impact, but I think fans have probably, now that the playoff race is done for us, which I think it is. I think a lot now are I'm not going to go to a game again this season. And as I said, for the rest of us that are going, it's just running the games down now, and hopefully we'll finish the season as strongly as we can. But yeah, it won't make any difference. But fans are starting to vote with their feet, and it will be interesting next season to see how many season tickets we actually sell.
Okay. Harry, we've got this EFL regulator coming in at the end of this season, which is going to have a massive impact in making sure that cases like Bury FC and Chester FC and Reading at the moment, who are currently facing extinction, sadly, and Sheffield Wednesday, of course, whose owner has publicly said he can't pay the players. Venkys aren't anywhere near that. They are paying the bills and they are paying the players on time. So do you see that we getting to the point in football where, as long as they keep paying the bills and keep the electricity on, there'll be nothing that a regulator or fans can do, and Blackburn are just stuck in purgatory with an owner who doesn't invest but doesn't put the club in any kind of peril?
Well, that's a sad indictment that this is that if that's the sort of acceptable state of what a football owner should be. I mean, I think the problem is when you've got an owner that you're £200 million in debt, I think you are to, then it's obviously not in their best interests to sell. And also the getting a buyer, I think it was the Walker Steel Foundation had it before us, had it before the Venkys did. Put it up for sale in, I think, 2007. It took them 3 years to sell it, and so it's not like there's a plethora of buyers coming in. And I do think there needs to be a change in the sort of structure of the way that football clubs are, the sort of right and proper. What is right and proper? I think that's there's a bit of murky water there. But I think in sort of, you're taking Rovers as a case study. I think in terms of immediate change, what we need is I don't see the way protesting against the Venkys does us any good. I don't see a way that they go on and sell the club. One, because I don't think they'll find a buyer, and two, I don't think it would be financially viable for them to do so. I think we need to sort of be really protesting for sort of managerial restructuring of the club from upstairs. I think you're talking about the three names that have been spoken about. You're talking Pasha, you're talking Waggett, and you're talking Gusted. I mean, when you've got someone in such a senior management role upstairs based off a 3-month work experience, it's ridiculous that a club is still playing in second division football of such a stature have got someone so inexperienced making decisions like that. You should be able to, he needs to take a step back and shadow someone with a bit of experience, someone he can learn from. And then you're talking the other two, they've been here for 7-8 years now, and you struggle to see what the vision is. You struggle to see what they're trying to do and how they are actually trying to make any changes that actually benefit the club rather than just trying to benefit from themselves. We know that running a football club isn't a money making scheme. It's about this sort of putting the money into the club to get to see progression. If you're a businessman, that's not really enough for you to be investing into a football club. It's not a business in the same way that everything else is. So yeah, there needs to be that sort of head overall change. And yeah, I mean, the dream is that because they change the ownership and then do something with Venkys. We're always talking about this court case that feels like it's never going to happen. It just feels like there's no regulations to sort of clubs to stop clubs that have already got these owners from suffering. I mean, we can stop new owners coming in, but it doesn't feel like there's any changes to the clubs that are already struggling. So I don't really see an answer for Rovers in the near future. But I think it's a really sort of sad indictment, and I think that the club could really struggle from this. I think if you're looking at future generation of fans, I don't see kids 10-year-old kids and younger that are going to want to support Blackburn because they don't want to be deprived of that opportunity to see their teams be successful. They want to go see their teams be successful and win things, and there's just no opportunity for that at Blackburn at the minute, and it needs a complete restructure. But I don't know how you go about achieving that in the current way that it's all set up.
I mean, to jump in, sorry, mate, just to jump in here quick. It'd be, I mean, financial fair play was brought in for a reason. And it'd be interesting to see the stats on struggling clubs and failing clubs and clubs going under before financial fair play comes in, because for me, it seems to be happening more to bigger clubs now than the smaller clubs since we financial fair. We've got owners with money coming, they're spending money. They bought a football club for something to do. This is how much money they've got. And they can't spend it. They can't buy us. They can't get us out of the hole we're in because they're not allowed to. So I think it'd be interesting to look at it from that side, as whether this problem runs deeper, if it's an issue. Because for me, it's an issue in football, and we're just a victim of that, along with a lot of other clubs at the moment. So,
does it frustrate you when you look at a club like Stoke City, who are every year bankrolled by the Coates and Coates friendly Bet365, who just pump money in and solve all the problems? Or look at Birmingham and Wrexham, who are coming up and likely playing Rovers next season, where you've got wealthy owners that are just, every club makes a loss, but unless you've got an owner who's happy just to kind of wipe off the club's debt season, then that annual debt goes on to the club, and you never run a football club at a profit. I mean, Tom, does that frustrate you as a fan, knowing that as bad as people say the Venkys, they have kept you, afloat, if you like.
Yeah, again, it's a double-edged sword, really, because I know in League One, League Two, the rules are slightly different. I mean, Jay Stansfield, prime example, going to Birmingham. I think we were linked with him at one point in the summer, and we were prepared to offer 4 million at a push, and that was all the rumours. And then Birmingham go out and splashed 12, 13 million pounds on him, and they spent about 25, close to 30 million pounds this year in League One. And Wrexham have done a lot with their wage bill, and they've literally almost bought the league. So I know the rules are going to be different when they come up to the Championship, and they've got to try and adhere to all the FFP. It is really frustrating when you see clubs like Nottingham Forest, for example, in the Premier League, just ignore the rules, take a points deduction, and then the following year they're reaping the rewards of that because they gambled on it. But teams like Rovers, we could not afford to do that. The Venkys wouldn't allow it. And as the guys have just said, we've got three idiots in charge that don't really know what they're doing. There's no transparency between us and the owners. There's no communication. And the communication that did come out recently, it was so forced and so staged. And Greg Broughton, for all his critics, he was quite open with the fans, and he would try and engage with us and let us know what is going on. We're almost left in the dark here. And then you see other clubs that are so well run that are, a couple of leagues below Rovers. I mean, I don't know if any of you saw the game yesterday, the Peterborough versus Birmingham game. It was so, the Peterborough fans were just loving life down in League One, and they've really struggled this year. And they took a lot of fans to the game. And I just think of Blackburn, it is really quite sad. And I think Mark hit the nail on the head. I mean, where I live in Worcester, there's no Blackburn fans anywhere. I'm in a massive minority of fans that, and the kids
Not
that
many
score,
up here.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Dwindling.
to entice young children to want to support a team like Blackburn, an unfashionable side, when you've got teams around us that seem more attractive. Because in my head, Blackburn are a bigger team than West Brom. We're a bigger team than Stoke, bigger team than Birmingham, and yet they're doing things the right way, and it's so frustrating. And that sooner or later, it's going to come to the point when we can't keep finding that hidden gem like a Smodic, an Armstrong. We can't keep getting out of Bradley Dack, someone that's going to come in and kind of be that star man, because we are going to run out. The academy is rumoured to be going down from a category A to category B. It's just a bit concerning that where we're going to be in 10 years' time, I don't know.
Okay. All right. We'll leave all that there for now. Good debate, though. Thank you very much. Hull have just equalised. There's a bit of positive news for you as well. Right. Player of the Season awards now then, please. So we're looking for the one player that stands out for you, has been consistent the most for Rovers, if that's okay. Mark, can you kick this off?
Oh, there's 3 players that spring to mind. Travis has got to be up there. Definitely, I think Danny Bart needs a mention. But for me, the ever-consistent Sondre Tronstad is my player of the season. Every time he plays, never puts a foot wrong. Even if the team's doing bad, he's still one of the best players on the pitch. So, so there has been 1 or 2 good performances this season, but it definitely Tronstad for me.
Jason?
I thought Britain was in with a shake till he started pick up a few injuries and missing games. But like Mark said, Tronstad or Travis, I think you could put both names in that and you couldn't argue with whichever name come out. I'm going to go Travis just to be different, just given the circumstances of what happened last season, how he come back into the team, come back into a new manager. I just thought, for him to come in and hit the ground the way he did. There's a lot of fans wanted him to leave, so there was, Lewis Travis for me.
Okay. Harry?
Yeah, I think the names that have been brought up already are the front runners. Lewis Travis was the first name that came to mind for me as well. He's almost sort of reimagined himself as a different type of player. We always saw him as this sort of completely ball winner, defensive-minded midfielder, but he's shown that he's an all-round midfielder. He's got so much more to his game, and having Tronstad next to him, which is so reliable as a sort of linchpin, allows him to be a bit more creative and get further up the pitch. And it showed this season when those two were out injured. That was when Rovers really started to struggle. Obviously, there was stuff happening behind the scenes as well, but those two were the two that make the team tick. So I'd edge it towards Travis, but either one of them, I think, are the front runners.
Yeah. And Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I have those names written down as well, but I'll probably go for just to be different. Danny Bart, I think he came in at the start of the season. He's 34 years old. He's got so much experience, and he's a leader without the captain's armband. He's solid. He wins the aerial duels. He's got a really good partnership with Dom Heim. I think he can be a good mentor. He's dominant in the air. I think I've been really, really impressed with him when he came in. I know the model's kind of changed the last couple of years. We're going for experienced heads, and we had McFadden last season, who again I was very sceptical of getting him, but he was really good at 37. And Danny Bart's played pretty much the whole season alongside Dom Heim at the back, and I think he has been one of the standout performers this season. And it speaks volumes really that all 4 of us have said, midfield players and defenders rather than an attacker this year, because we haven't got anyone like Smodic who walked it last year. So I think Gay's done really well in the fact he's kind of had 2 seasons in one. The start he was dreadful, the second half he's really picked up, and I think Ohashi, had he not had his injury, and if he'd have carried on the way he has been playing, he could have been in there as well. But yeah, I think Travis, Bart, Callum Britton or Tronstad, any of those 4 fully deserve the player of the year.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Let us know in the comments who you believe should get it. Do you agree with anything that's been said here? Finally, this week, we're asking you to pick the championship player of the season. We want one name here, please. That's okay. The one player that you've watched as a Rovers fan that doesn't play your side. Now, this is not the player that you think should win it overall. This is the player that when you've watched Rovers this season, that you've been amazed by an opposition player in particular that's played extremely well against your side. Let's start with Tom. Briefly, if we can.
I've been impressed with a few of the Middlesbrough players, in all honesty. I mean, Tommy Conway was really good when we played him, and I've been impressed with Finn Azaz as well. I think both direct, quick, strong. Conway scored a terrific goal against us, and I think he was their kind of talisman against that game. We lost 2-0. So of the two, probably Tommy Conway, and he's got a lot of goals this year as well across the Championship, and he's only young, and he's the sort of player that I thought we really struggled to kind of handle against Middlesbrough a few weeks ago. So Tommy Conway for me.
Thank you, Harry.
It's been the same answer for a while. There's one player that seems that where every time he plays against us, he just has an absolute blinder, and it's the Stoke keeper Johansson. Generally, he turns into sort of prime Manuel Neuer every time we play against him. Generally, he's sensational. He must be awful every other time he plays, because to be at Stoke when he plays that level, he should be playing Premier League, Champions League or football. He makes sort of 7 or 8 saves, clawing them out the top corner. I don't know how he's stayed at Stoke if he plays like that on a regular basis. He's generally one of the best keepers I've seen at this level. He blows me away every time he plays Rovers.
Okay. Jason?
I had 2. One was the one Harry's just said for exactly the same reasons. I'm going to have to start watching him more on TV and so see if he's really that good, because Stoke must be paying him some money.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go for Isidore. I think he's such a threat, and he scored a wonderful back heel flick against us at Ewood. I think he scored, and we've not played him twice, have we? No. Yeah, so he was that goal at Ewood, but he was just an absolute. He ran our defence ragged. I don't think we'll lay the glove on him for 90 minutes, so it's got to be him for me. He looks a real find.
And Mark?
Some cracking shouts there, to be honest. I actually struggled with this when I saw the question, because there's not been many this season from any team that's come. Not many teams have impressed me this season, to be fair. 1 or 2 players, have looked all right, but nothing that really stands out. I think the one player that comes to my mind, and again, not maybe necessarily his performances against Rovers, just how much I've seen on TV and things like that, but the lad at Norwich, is it Sands, Bojo Sands? He's looked a really good talent. So I will go with him.
He's top scorer, isn't he, at the moment?
I think
Sargent.
So.
Sargent is maybe just one above him, I think, or on the same level.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. One final point which our Sheffield United fans asked us to raise with you. They are desperate at the moment. They've obviously had 3 losses on the bounce. If it would come to it on the last day of the season, and it was between Burnley have got Millwall at home, which is a difficult fixture for them, and them, who are playing you guys at Bramall Lane. They want to know, would you lie down so that Burnley finish third?
Yes.
I've already ordered my Sheffield United scarf ready, so
we'll pass it on to them that Blackburn are willing to give you the 3 points.
Absolutely.
If it means that Burnley finish third. Right. Cheers, fellas. Thank you very much. Have a good Easter weekend. The 2 games to go. We'll see you in 7 days' time. Thanks for watching.